Hello everybody, good morning. I'm Hannah. This is YogiMe Saturday morning. It's 1 hour of yoga. Thank you for joining us. Won't need any props today, as always, just kind of a mat. So yeah, maybe grab some water. And we'll get started here in just a minute. Hope you all are doing well. Good morning, Marcia. Yeah, I hope you guys are all doing well. All right, looks like we have 8 people. That's like a full class if we were at the studio. So this is exciting. Thanks for joining us. We'll get started here just in a minute. And actually, let's just get started in a child's pose. So if you're just joining us, we're starting in child's pose. Bring your toes together and your knees wide. If you have a mat, it's about as wide as your mat. And then just walk your hands and your chest forward. Come into a very comfortable pose here. So I'm going to turn the music down. But just start to bring your awareness to your breath here. And if this isn't comfortable, you can, you don't have to stretch your arms out quite as far. Let your forearms rest down on the mat. Let your forehead rest on the mat if that's comfortable. We're just starting to bring our awareness in and start to connect with our breath. So as you're in child's pose, bring your awareness to your breath. Notice if your breath is shallow or maybe fast. Just noticing what this feels like. Noticing your rib cage expanding and contracting. And if you haven't already, start to deepen your breath. So really sucking the air down low, down to the very bottom of your lungs. In and out through the nose. And everything I say today during class is just a suggestion. So if I suggest anything that's not comfortable for you or not accessible, just be kind to yourself and listen to your body always. And skip what I suggest or take a modification. You can always come into child's pose. This pose is always here for you. So as you're still drawing your awareness inward and noticing your breath, start to walk your hand over to the right side. So still reaching evenly with both your right and your left hands. But getting nice stretch in the left side of your body. And breathe into that. Breathe into your left side body. You can keep your head dropped down to the mat. And then walk your hands back to center. Pause for a breath. And then walk your hands over to the left. Still seeing if you can reach evenly with both your right and your left hand. Breathe into your right side body. And then walk your hands back to center, back to your child's pose. This time, keep it active, so reach your forearms up off the mat. Maybe come into the pads of your fingertips. And really pull your hips back towards your heels. Lengthen your spine. And then start to walk your hands forward so that your hips come over your knees, and bring your knees in so that they're about hip width distance. Keep walking your hands forward and melt your heart forward. Drawing your chest down towards the mat and getting a gentle stretch in your shoulders. And breathe here. And then you can lift your chest up, walk your hands into a tabletop position so that your wrists are right over your shoulders and your hips are right over your knees. And then we'll come into some cat-cows. So on an inhale, shine your heart forward and drop your belly down, scoop your tailbone up. And then exhale as you round your spine, tuck your tailbone in, create space in between your shoulder blades. And then inhale, cow pose, drop your belly down, shine your heart forward. Exhale, round your spine, coming into cat pose, gently pressing the mat away. Inhale, cow pose, warming up the spine. Inhale or exhale, cat pose. And then continue this at your own pace, following your breath. So inhaling, opening your chest, exhaling, closing. Taking whatever movement here that you need just to warm up your spine. So maybe you look towards your left ankle, look towards your right ankle. If you hear rustling in the background, that's my cat. I don't know what she's doing. And then when you're ready, come into a neutral spine and tuck your toes underneath and press into your hands, press into all 10 fingers. And then lift your knees up off of the mat, let them hover there for a moment. And then continue to pull your hips up high, up towards the ceiling, coming in a downward facing dog. And lengthen your spine here, press the mat away with all 10 fingers. You can keep your knees bent, that helps keep your spine nice and long. And breathe here. And then drop your right knee down to the mat. Turn your left foot so that it's firmly planted. And then reach your left arm up towards the ceiling. Coming into sort of modified side plank. And you're opening up your chest, you're stacking your shoulders and your hips. Inhaling. And then exhale as you bring your left arm over your left ear, reaching forward. Creating a long line between your left fingertips and the outside edge of your left foot. Make sure your foot has a nice connection with the earth. And then reach up, inhale, stack your shoulders, open your chest. And exhale, set your left hand down. And send your left leg up. And reach your right hand forward. So lengthen your limbs, really reach with that right hand and kick back with your left foot. Using some balance here. And then inhale, see if you can lift your limbs a little bit higher. And exhale, set everything back down. Tuck your toes underneath. Send your hips up high. Downward facing dog. And take 5 breaths here. And then set your left knee down. Turn your right foot so that it's firmly planted and reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. Inhaling, opening up your chest. Stacking your shoulders, stacking your hips. And then reach your left hand over your left ear. Sorry, your right hand over your right ear. Creating a nice long line between your fingertips and the outside edge of your foot. Breathing into your right side body. And then inhale your hand back up towards the ceiling. Open your chest and then exhale. Set your hand back down on the mat. Reach your right leg up. And your left hand forward. So really reaching with your left hand. Kicking back with your right foot. Kicking and reaching in equal amounts. Staying strong in your right arm. And then see if you can lift your limbs a little bit higher. And then exhale, set everything back down. Tuck your toes underneath. Lift your hips up high, downward facing dog. And take 5 breaths here. Keep your tailbones scooping up towards the ceiling. And then bend your knees, look forward. Take a step or a hop, or you can take a couple steps up to the front of the mat. And then once you reach the front of the mat, lift up halfway so that the crown of your head is reaching forward. Your tailbone is reaching backwards. Your spine is nice and long. Lengthen everything possible here. And then exhale as you fold forward. You can bend your knees as much as you would like to. You can even grasp opposite elbows and let that pull you down, just let gravity do its work here. And maybe start to rock a little bit from side to side. So rocking left to right. And then bring your hands back down to the mat. Bend your right knee and bring your left arm up towards the ceiling. So getting a nice gentle twist here. Stacking your shoulders, looking up. And then let your left hand come back down to the mat. Bend your left knee, reach your right arm up. Inhale, stack your shoulders. And exhale, put your right hand back down to the mat. Lift up halfway again. And exhale, fold. Bend your knees and reach up, stand all the way up. And then bring your hands to your sides as you exhale. Inhale, reach up. You can look up, maybe take a slight back bend here. And then exhale, swan dive forward. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale as you plant your hands and step your feet back into plank. And then from here, rock forward slightly on your toes. Bend your elbows, keep your elbows hugged into your torso, and lower down slowly with control. Untuck your toes, straighten your elbows just until your body tells you to stop. Coming into Cobra, keeping your thighs down on the mat. Look forward, open your chest, and then bring your chin back down to the mat. Tuck your toes. Lift up into plank, and then lift your hips up high, downward facing dog. And take 5 breaths here. Make them nice and deep and strong. And then look forward, bend your knees, take a step or a hop to the front of the mat, and lift up halfway. Inhale, exhale, fold forward, bend your knees, reach up, stand up, inhale, and then grab your left wrist with your right hand and bend to the right. Getting a nice stretch in your left side body. Then inhale, reach up, grab your right wrist and lean to the left. Inhale, reach up. And then if you're standing long ways on your mat, come sideways so that you can step out wide. Come into a 5-pointed star. So you're just reaching your hands out, making yourself as big as possible, lengthening your spine, reaching out, arms and legs. And then bring your heels in slightly, bend your knees, come into a goddess squat. So you're pulling your hips forward, bringing your knees back, keeping your spine as long as possible. And then lift back up to your 5-pointed star. Reach your right hand forward and drop your right hand, reaching your left arm up. So your right hand comes to your shin, or you can come to your knees. Still keeping your hips open. So if that means you come up a little higher, that's okay. You don't have to reach the floor. And then bring your left hand to meet your right and turn your left toes to face forward. So right and left toes are facing the same direction. And then fold over your right leg. So your hands are on your shin. If you would like to, you can bring them to the floor. But squaring your hips forward for pyramid pose. And then bend your right knee, bring your hands to frame your right foot, drop your back knee down, and then reach up. So drawing your hips forward, right ankle is directly below your right knee. And then bring your hands to the mat to frame your right foot. And then turn your right toes so that they're facing forward. So coming into your Skandasana. So you can either be on your toes of your right foot, or you can drop your right heel down. Just coming down as low as possible. You could be up here, that's okay. But making sure your left foot has a nice connection with the mat. And then see if you can bring your hands to heart center. And take a little bit of a balance here. And then see if you can keep your hips at the same height that they are. And then switch legs. So you're coming over into your left foot and your right knee straightens. So we're going to transition here. So bring your hands down to the mat. And then turn your toes to the edge of your mat, to the front of your mat. Drop your right knee down and lift up for a low lunge. Keep your shoulders away from your ears, but reach up through the crown of your head, reach up through your fingertips. And then bring your hands back down to the mat, tuck your right toes underneath, and come into your pyramid pose. So we're working backwards. So fold over your left leg, all 10 toes facing forward. And then keep your left hand where it is, reach your right arm up, and then let your toes, your right foot be parallel with the edge of your mat. So stacking your shoulders, opening up your hips. And then use your core as you lift all the way back up to standing. We're in our 5-pointed star now. Bend your knees, goddess squat, just for a breath, and then lift back up. 5-pointed star. Step your feet together, hands together, and lean to the right. Inhale, reach up, lean to the left. Inhale, reach up, step your feet out wide, 5-pointed star. Bend your knees, bring your heels in, goddess squat. Lift back up, 5-pointed star. Reach your left hand forward and drop your left hand down to your left shin. Reach your right arm up. So we're going to be doing this a couple times, this flow that we just did, a couple times on each side. So it might feel weird now, but as we keep going, you'll get the hang of it. So then bring your right hand to meet your left hand. Turn your right toes so that they're facing forward. Fold over your left leg. And breathe. And then bend your left knee, set your hands down, set your right knee down, and lift up, low lunge. And then bring your hands to the floor, tuck your right toes underneath, turn your left foot so that it's parallel with the edge of your mat, and come into Skandasana. So you walk your hands in, and then maybe bring your hands to heart center. And then see if you can keep your hips at the same distance or same level that they are, and transition over to the right. So Skandasana with your right knee bent. And then bring your hands to the floor, Bring your toes to face forward, drop your left knee, and lift up, low lunge. Bring your hands to the floor again, tuck your toes underneath, pyramid pose, folding over your right leg. And then reach your left arm up. For triangle, and then use your core, lift all the way back up to standing. Come into your 5-pointed star. Bring your heels in, bend your knees, goddess squat. Lift back up to standing, step your feet in. Lean to the right. Inhale back up to center, lean to the left. Inhale back up to center. Step your feet out. Bring your hands out, goddess, or 5-pointed star. Bend your knees, goddess squat. Lift back up. And then bring your right hand, reach your right hand forward, drop your right hand to your right shin. And stack your shoulders. Bring your left hand to your right shin. Bring your toes to face forward, all 10 toes, and fold over your right leg. Pyramid. And then bend your right knee, set your left knee down, low lunge. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, bring your hands to the floor. Transition to your Skandasana. And you can keep your hands on the floor or try to come to your hands at heart center. And then see if you can keep your hips at the same height and transition over to the left. And pause here. Bring your hands down to the mat and transition so that your feet, your toes are all facing forward. Drop your right knee, come into your low lunge. Bring your hands to the floor, tuck your right toes underneath. Come into your pyramid pose. So you're folding over your left leg. And then reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. Right foot becomes parallel with the back of the mat. Stack your shoulders and then use your core. Come back up to standing, 5-pointed star. Bring your heels in, goddess squat. Bend your knees, bend your elbows. And lift back up. Step your feet in. Lean to the right. Inhale back up and lean to the left. Inhale back up, step your feet out. 5-pointed star. Again, goddess squat, bend your knees, bend your elbows, and lift back up. Reach your left hand forward, drop your left hand to your left shin, reach your right arm up. And then bring your right hand to your left shin. Bring your toes forward, pyramid pose. Fold over your left leg. And then bend your left knee, bring your hands to the floor, drop your right knee, and lift up, low lunge. And then bring your hands to the floor, transition into Skandasana, so your left toes turn to the side, and you're down low in your Skandasana on your left leg. You can see if you can bring your hands to heart center. If not, that's okay. And then we'll transition over to the right side. So try to keep your hips at the same height and transition over. And then bring your hands to the floor. We'll come back to our low lunge. So drop your left knee down, reach up. I think you guys know where we're going now, so bring your hands to the floor, tuck your left toes underneath, come into your pyramid pose, folding over your right leg. And then reach your left arm up, triangle. Left foot is parallel with the back of the mat. Stacking your shoulders, opening up, use your core, lift back up. Bend your knees, bend your elbows, gotta squat. Come back up, 5-pointed star, step your feet in. Lean to the right. Inhale back up and lean to the left. Lift back up, step your feet out. Again, gotta squat, bend your knees, bend your elbows. Keep your hips coming forward. Inhale back up. Then reach with your right hand. Bring your right hand to your right shin. Lift your left arm. Bring your left hand to your right shin. Bring your toes forward. Fold over your right leg. Bring your hands to the floor. Bend your right knee. Drop your left knee down. Low lunge. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bring your hands to the floor. Transition to your Skandasana. See if you can bring your hands to heart center. And then transition over to the left side. Bring your hands to the floor. Come back to your low lunge. So right knee comes to the mat, lift up. Inhale, reach. Exhale, bring your hands to the floor. Tuck your right toes underneath. Come into your pyramid. Reach your right arm up. Right foot comes parallel with the back of the mat. Open up your chest, use your core, lift back up. Bring your left toes in, gotta squat, bend your knees, bend your elbows, and lift back up, 5-pointed star. Step your feet in, bend to the right. Inhale, lift up, and bend to the left. Inhale, back up, step your feet out. 5-pointed star, make yourself nice and big. Bend your knees, bend your elbows, and lift back up. Reach your left hand forward, left hand to left shin, right arm goes up. Triangle pose. And then bring your right hand to your left shin. Bring your toes forward. Pyramid, fold over your left leg. Then bring your hands to the floor, bend your left knee, set your right knee down, lift up, low lunge. And then bring your hands back down to the mat, tuck your right toes underneath, come into your Skandasana on the left side. See if you can bring your hands to heart center. And then we'll transition over to the right side, Skandasana. And then bring your hands to the mat. Transition to your low lunge, so drop your left knee down, reach up. Bring your hands to the mat, tuck your left toes, come into your pyramid, folding over your right leg. Almost done. And then lift your left arm up towards the ceiling. Left foot comes parallel with the back of the mat. And then use your core, lift back up. 5-pointed star. Make yourself nice and big, lengthen everything. Bring your heels in, bend your knees, bend your elbows. Goddess squat. Then lift back up, 5-pointed star, step your feet in. Lean to the right. Inhale back up and lean to the left. Then inhale back up and sit into your chair pose here. So bring your toes together. Bring your hips back in space. As far back as they'll go. Look down, see if you can see your toes. Reach forward. And breathe. Then bring your hands to the center, bring your left elbow to your right knee. And twist. See if you can bring your thumbs as close as possible to your sternum. Feeling that nice twist. Twist back to center. Right elbow to left knee. And then twist back up to center. And then fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands. Step your feet back into plank. And then keeping your elbows hugged in, rock it slightly forward on your toes. Keep your elbows hugged in. And lower down halfway. And hover. And then slowly lower down all the way down to the mat. Untuck your toes. Lift up into your cobra. So straighten your elbows as far as they'll go. Keeping your thighs down on the mat. Dropping your shoulders down, opening up your chest. And then exhale, chin to the mat. Inhale back up to cobra. Exhale, chin to the mat. Inhale, cobra, one more time. And then exhale, chin to the mat. Tuck your toes, press up to plank. Then lift your hips up high, downward facing dog. And take 5 breaths here. And then drop your knees wide, bring your big toes to touch, sink your hips back, child's pose. Lengthening your spine still here, bring your hips back towards your heels. And then when you're ready, tuck your toes underneath, lift your hips up high, downward facing dog. And we'll just get a little bit of ab work here. So bring your right leg up towards the ceiling, bring your right knee to your right elbow, tap it, send it back out long. Right knee to left elbow, tap, send it back up. Right knee to your nose, hover it in as high as you can, and then send it back up. And drop your right foot to meet your left. Reach your left leg up. Left knee, left elbow, tap, send it back out long. Left knee, right elbow, tap, send it back out long. Left knee to your nose, hover it close as you can. Send it back up and step your left foot down, downward facing dog. Scoop your tailbone up and then drop your knees, cross your ankles deeply, and we'll come into a seated position. So here, bring your legs as wide as comfortable. We're just going to come into a wide-legged forward fold, seated forward fold. So sit up nice and tall. Your legs don't have to be super wide, just as much as comfortable. And then sit up nice and tall and start to walk your hands forward, or you can even grab your shins or your ankles or your feet. Using your breath here. You can always bend your knees here too, if that's more accessible. And then when you're ready, roll back up to seated. Bring your legs together. And we'll do the same thing just with our legs together. So sit up nice and tall. Inhale, you can reach your arms up. Then exhale, fold forward. Bringing your hands to whatever you can. You can grab your pant leg, your ankles, or your toes. Try to keep your spine as long as possible. You should be bending from the hips instead of just rounding the spine. You should be sitting up nice and tall. And then when you're ready, roll back up to seated. Bring the soles of your feet together, knees wide. Bring your heels in as close to you as comfortable. You can grab your feet with your hands. Think about bringing your knees down to the mat as much as possible. Sit up nice and tall and fold over your feet. And use your exhales here. You can use your inhales to lengthen and your exhales to fold. Maybe just get a little bit deeper into the pose. Just a few more breaths here. And then roll back up to seated. You can bring your legs out long. Maybe shake them out if that feels good. And then come down onto your backs. And cross your right leg over your left leg. So your knees should be pretty much stacked as much as possible. If this isn't comfortable, you could bring your right ankle to your left knee, something like that, but try to see if you can bring your knees one on top of the other. And then grab the outsides of your feet and try to keep your legs at about a 90-degree angle, both of them. And then see if you can pull, just gently pull your feet to a spot that's comfortable. So sometimes we'll take this pose seated, but I think this is a little bit easier to get a better range of motion here because you don't have the floor in your way. So this would be called the reclined cow face pose. And then when you're ready, you can release. Maybe hug both knees into your chest. And then cross your left leg over your right leg, trying to get those knees stacked on top of each other. And then grab the outsides of your feet, keeping your knees at 90 degrees. And gently drawing your feet down towards you. Again, if this just doesn't seem possible, you can bring your left ankle to your right knee. We're just trying to get a good stretch in our hips. This would also touch like your IT band, maybe your glutes. And breathe. And then when you're ready, you can release. Hug both knees into your chest. And then grab the outsides of your feet with both hands. Bring the soles of your feet up towards the ceiling and draw your knees in down towards your armpits. And you can rock from side to side and your happy baby. And then see if it feels okay for you. See if you can straighten your knees. You don't have to, and you might not get them all the way straight, and that's okay. But just see how it feels to lengthen here in this pose. You can also, if your feet feel really far away, you can grab the backs of your thighs. And then hug your knees in, hug them both into your chest, give yourself a nice squeeze. And then bring the soles of your feet up towards the ceiling. And then if you would like to, I'll walk you guys into a shoulder stand. So bring your hands down to your sides, lift your hips up, and see if you can drop your feet to the floor behind your head. It's okay if they don't reach. Certainly don't rush it or
force yourself into this pose. You don't have to reach. But then bend your elbows, bring your hands to your low back. And maybe walk your hands down. Walk your hands down your back, and then bring your right leg up, and then your left leg. So your weight should be in your shoulders and not so much in your neck. So your torso is kind of like a leaning Tower of Pisa. It's not straight up and down. But draw your feet up. Even if you just stayed with legs up the wall, coming into an inversion, bringing your legs up towards the ceiling is really good for your heart. It kind of undoes the natural effects of gravity that's working against us all day. And then to come out of this, gently slide your hands down towards your hips. Your feet can fall back. And then just gently, one vertebrae at a time, roll back down. You can bend your knees. Hug your knees into your chest. And just in case you missed any part of the body here, try to squeeze everything you can. So squeeze your toes, squeeze your feet into you, squeeze your hands into fists, squeeze your face muscles, squeeze everything possible. And then relax and undo that. We'll come into our final resting pose called Shavasana. So traditionally this is just laying flat down on your backs. You can also bend your knees, bring your knees together. You can take up as much space on your mat as you would like. Just make sure every joint is supported here. You don't need any muscles to keep you here. If you have any extra tension, now's a good time to let it go. Just give your body a scan from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet. Checking in with every part of you. Making sure there's no tension. And just for a few moments here, we'll lay quietly down on our mats and let everything we did soak in. body. Start to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Take any movement here that feels natural to start to wake your body back up. Maybe you reach your arms up overhead, take a nice morning stretch. Stretching from your toes to your fingers. And then begin to roll into the right side of your body. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Pausing here for a few breaths. And then using your arms, press yourself up into a comfortable seated position. Taking your time. Bring your hands to your thighs. Draw the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. And then scoop your arms up overhead. Bring your palms to touch. And then exhale as you bring your hands to heart center. We'll do this a few more times. So inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Tuck your chin in slightly. Thank you for sharing this time with me today. The light and love in me honors and acknowledges the light and love in you. Namaste. Thank you all so much for joining. I'm looking forward to being back all together sometime soon. Feel free to share this video with anybody that might want to watch it. And thank you all. I'll be back Tuesday, Thursday, and next Saturday. Bye.